Good morning, welcome back to Sewing Street. I'm John Cole Morgan and I am so excited to bring you my block of the week this week. Few little issues with the website, please bear with us, we're doing our very best to get it ready. If you are looking to get block 3 immediately, you can call the call centre and they'll be able to help you, but everybody is working really hard to make sure it's all up on the website as soon as possible. I am so excited about this. I'm going to give you a little peek about what we're going to make today. Many of you know we've got 3 different colorways on it. So this is our Brights collection, and you can see our lovely quilt over here for the Brights collection. This is how that's going to fit into your block today. But our top seller, the one that we cannot keep up with demand, we've got our fabulous vintage collection over here with our vintage range. And you can see that, oh, wrong side, that's where the top of the block is over there. So I'll show you that later as to where that plops in. And then we've got our lovely blue collection as well. And that one you can see, again, plops into our quilt just over there. Really lovely little combination, these. These are really nice little blocks, quite simple. But you do need to pay a little bit of attention because if you don't match a point here and there, it's going to show. So I'm going to show you how we can get that all nice and matched. And if you don't match, it doesn't matter. No one's going to ever return a quilt that you've made for them because you haven't matched a seam. That's our 3rd week that we've had. Let me show you the week 2 that we did last week. Again, this is our blue collection here. This was our blue block from last week in week 2. Many of you have now got blocks 1 and 2, and I am loving seeing all your pictures that you've got on our social media. This is our blue colorway there. Pardon me. Sorry. Talking for so long, you get a little frog in your throat. Sorry. There we go. The website, unfortunately, the only block that's affected is block 3. So if you wanted to buy blocks 1 and 2, they're available for you already. So this is the blue colorway that we've got. That's week 2. But we've also got our Brights colorway over here, which is really vibrant and fun. That's week 2 as well. And that then slots into our quilt over here like that. I think it's always nice to know where your quilt's going to go and where it's going to land in it. That's our lovely Brights collection. And then again, our top seller throughout the whole process has been our gorgeous vintage colorway here, which is a beautiful grey, pink and green with a lovely cream down the middle here. And that's our cream colorway for block 2. So those are the 2 blocks. That's the second block that we did. And then we've got our block 1, which was a really nice, simple log cabin. So this is our vintage colorway. I think I've got these in the right order. That's our vintage colorway for our log cabin block. That was block 1 in our vintage. And we've also got block 1 in our blues. I love these. And then we've got our Brights colorway as well. So this is our Brights colorway. I feel like our Brights one is getting our special treatment over here because you can then see that sits into the quilt just there. So let me tell you now what a block of the week is, because many of you are thinking, huh? So what it is we normally do a block of the month, but unfortunately where we all are at the moment, we can't go out, we can't do anything. Some of us are quite bored at home, and I don't want to say we've used up all of our stash, but we're certainly getting close to the end of it. So now we're at the point where we're just wanting to do something, and we're also feeling a little isolated. So I wanted to make sure that we had something that we can have as a sense of community. People can do a project together, because I think we always go well when we're doing something together and we can lean on other people and be able to do it together and to be able to take part as a group. So what we did is we decided we were going to do a block of the week. So every Friday at 9 AM, you're going to have me doing a quilt that I've designed. So this is the Brights colorway quilt that we've designed on it, and you'll see that there are 12 blocks in it, and then on our 13th week we're going to put all the sashing and the cornerstones and the borders on. I'm going to show you how to do all of that. So in theory, in 13 weeks you've got a finished quilt top. So as I said, this is the quilt that we're going to do in the Brights colorway, because we've decided that not everybody likes the same colour, so we wanted to have these exclusive to Sewing Street fabrics. So that was our Brights colourway, and then this is our Blues colourway. I just need to make sure I've got the quilts the right way round, because last week I was showing them and they weren't the right way round. What is the bet that I move all of these patterns now? What's the bet of that? So this is our Blue colourway. Hopefully I'm not going to mess up the set. Doubt it, but there we go. Right, so this is our gorgeous blue quilts In my head, it worked so simply. So this is our blue colorway here. And you can see just how beautiful this is. And the great thing about this project is I wanted to have a skill building quilt, that you'll do some blocks which are a little bit more simpler than others, and then you'll get some complex blocks like this middle one here, this one here. That's a little bit of a beast, that block, but it is so lovely, and it is, I promise you, when we do it together, you'll see how easy it is to do. But I wanted to make sure that we could enhance our skills, and we'd all be able to take part in it together and just build up on our skills. And for those of you who are intermediaries or advanced, that will be a great thing for you, is you can take part and just be involved and make sure that you're making a lovely quilt and then helping other people along the way as well. Because we've got some fabulous social media groups that people can be a part of. Bear with, I'm going to try and do this in one throw. And the social media side of things has been fantastic, which is why people are sharing these all on. We've got the Sewing Street TV page on Facebook. That one's fab. That's run by the channel. And then we've got the Sewing Street fans page as well, which is great because we get all of our feedback from you there. And now this is our vintage colorway as well, which has been the most popular. We have sold hundreds of these 3 different colorways, but the vintage colorway sold out last week twice. So you never have to worry, because these are Sewing Street exclusive designs and fabrics, you never have to worry about us selling out. It may take us a little while just because of where we are at the moment. We are able to reprint them. So if we've sold out of something, just keep looking back in a day or two and they'll be back in stock while we get some more printed and we just get everything lined up on the website. Oh, I think the blue was easier to put back on. There we go. If I lower that down, is that going to hold? And don't forget, if you want to get the block 3 now, you can call the call centre. They're just up the road, really, really easy down the road, and they're able to help you. The telephone number is 0800 001 4433. If you're phoning from a landline, it won't cost you anything. If you're phoning from a mobile, just check with your service provider whether you'll be getting toll-free numbers for free. So we've now got we've started now, we've done 3 blocks. This was block 1. I'm going to pick them up in a random colourway. This is our block 1. We've got those in the 3 colorways as well. We've got, so let me show you what you're getting with the block 1 at the very beginning. So we're going to start with the brights. So what I did with this is, you're going to get this panel. First of all, let's start with the instructions. So you get this really, really comprehensive set of instructions, both with words as well as then all the different pictures as to how you're going to make this. So you've got that as your instructions. They come as a standard. Then also, if you look at the Facebook, if you look at the YouTube page, you'll be able to then see that we have broken down our block of the week tutorials, and we've put those through as individual tutorials just for the hour. So if you look up on if you go to YouTube and type in Sewing Street, hopefully by now you'd have clicked subscribe, and once you've looked there, you can go and pop on our video page and you'll be able to always see our block of the week, which will be on every Friday. It may be uploaded on a Saturday, but it's always on there as an individual hour. So you'll always be able to get the tuition of the block of the week as a separate video, which is a great thing that we're doing, because any tutorial, any show that's been on, anything that you've seen, they're all on there. Every single show, going back to our very first show on Valentine's Day. So you can just go through and check as to anything you may have missed, anything you want to watch again, they're always on there, like the block of the weeks. And the great thing with this is because we print everything and we do it and it's all exclusive to Sewing Street, you can start this process at any point. So if you haven't taken part yet, it's fine. You're going to make 3 blocks when you get them through, and you're going to have enough fabric here, more than enough. Let me show you now. So you get the instructions here. This is the panel you're going to get for the brights. Look at it. It's huge. It's a really big piece of fabric, that. If I go that way, you can see the whole thing. 55 inches from this end to this end. And then what we've done is, because the instructions are written so that, let me just fold this over here. We've tried to make them the universal instructions because we couldn't write them for every colorway as well, because sometimes what we call sage green, you may call something else. So what we've done is we've written the pattern to this colorway. So you'll be able to see that we've got our white, black, pink, and grey. This is what we've written the pattern as. But when you go through the pattern, I'm going to ask Joe if he wouldn't mind going to the overhead while I flip this round. When you go onto the pattern, you're going to see that over here, can we zoom in on that, Joe? And I'll move this down so we stay on, there we go. So over here, you'll see it says fabric 1, okay? But on your kit, you'll see that's fabric 1. So on every single one of the panels, the first one is fabric 1. And then as we go down, fabric 2 is always this bottom fabric. So you can see it says there fabric 2, there's fabric 2. Then it says fabric 3, and you'll see there's, oh, I'm moving that down a little bit, sorry about that. When you see fabric 3, there's fabric 3. And then when you're looking for fabric 4, it's fabric 4 over here. Can we show on the overhead? Thank you. Poor Joe's pressing loads of buttons at the thing there, so I'm just moving that along. So you can see it says there fabric 4, fabric 4. So every one of our panels, no matter which colorway you buy it in, the first color at the top for block 1, and I think actually for all 3 blocks at the minute, but they may change, but every single one of them has got fabric 1, fabric 2, fabric 3, and fabric 4 all on this. They will always have the fabric number in the corner over there. So if you open your pattern and it says fabric number 1 white, your fabric 1 might not be white. So that's why we called it fabric 1. And when we refer to the white, we're referring to the white in this design here. It's not what this color on your panel is, because this one's slightly gray, and that's why we couldn't find a way that worked best. So we thought we would write this in a really simple way, referring to this colorway, but then labeling it as fabric 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the cutting key, so that you're always able to then track where you are and what color it is. And what I've done as well, as I've gone along, because I'm making these in different colors, what I do is on the back page of this, I just attach these to the back page. That's fabric 1. I know that's fabric 4. That's fabric 2. Sorry, I'm putting my pins in the wrong place. And that's fabric 3. So I keep those like that. So I know 1, 2, 3, 4. And also what I've done normally is I've written under here. So if I've called this, if the pattern calls this white, I've called that white. If they're calling this grey, I've called that grey. If this is pink, I've called it pink. If this is black, I've called it black. And I've actually written on the back of the pattern here so that I never get confused. And then whenever I'm making a block, I just leave this and I put it up over there because I'm doing 3 different colorways. It just works really well. And I think that that's a good way of doing it for you as well. Pin your fabrics on the back here with the number and then just write down what the pattern's called it, and you'll never get confused as to how you're doing that. So that's the first question we've had on that, and that is our Brights colorway. On how we're doing that. We've got 3 other colorways on block 1, so that's the Brights. Which color should we do next, Joe? We'll do the blue. And the great thing with this is you get a huge amount of fabric. You get so much left over. So this is the blue colorway. What you're getting is a panel for the blue colorway, and you can see that you've got the 4 different colors there. 55-inch width on that. And I'm very proud about the fact, look, you've got my name on it. It says block of the week, block 1 of 12. So I'm really, really proud of this. I think it's a fabulous thing. And I hope you can take part with the hundreds of other people who are doing it as well. So that's block 1 in the blue, and then our last colorway in block 1 is our vintage colorway, which has been our most popular. Not surprised though, these are the most gorgeous colors. So this has come with a beautiful sagey green, a lovely grey, a lovely light pink, and then this gorgeous cream that's gone really, really well. And you've all loved these color combinations. So that's block 1. And then in each of these panels, you're going to get the instructions for block 1 with each of the panels. So I know I only showed the instructions with the first one for the Brights one, but you will get these incredible instructions with each one of these kits, whichever way you choose. So that would be your vintage colorway with what you're beginning with that, with the instructions and the thing, and then what you're beginning for the blue colorway as well. So you get the instructions for both. And hopefully you've understood what I meant about the way of color coordinating the fabrics, because I think it's just working really well for everybody as well. Now we're going to move on to block 2. This is block 2 that we're doing here. This colorway is the vintage as well. Am I going in the right order, Joe? Is that all right? Perfect. So again, you're going to get these wonderful instructions, loads of pictures, loads of words as well to get that all going. This one we demoed last week. So if you're looking for the video on this, just pop onto YouTube and you're looking for week 2 of John's block of the week. This is the huge panel you're getting for each of the colorways, but this is the vintage colorway. And you can see all 4 of the different colors there. And again, you can see the labeling there in the top left-hand corner of that grey. We've called that Fabric 4 as well. Same time every week for 13 weeks. This is our 3rd week, so we've got 10 weeks to go after this. 12 weeks will be different blocks that we're making along the way. And then our 13th week will be putting our sashing together and our borders and finishing the quilts off. But again, if you've got any questions as well, the great thing about our social media is that we've got everything on there, and I'm hopefully been able to answer any questions that people have had along the way. If I haven't, just drop me a question and we'll be able to keep up with you. Because the great thing is I've had some feedback as well on the demos that I've done already, and you'll see I've tweaked my demo this week a little bit more, so you'll be able to see that I can answer questions as we go. This is our Brights combination for block 2. So you're getting this fabulous panel. All the different colours on there. Just love this colourway. I honestly thought the Brights would be the most popular one. You never can tell. So you're getting that fabulous panel as well as these instructions for block 2. This is our Brights colour combination there. This is for... So I'll show you then, in case you've forgotten what block 2 looks like, I'm going to show you these in all 3 of the colorways that we've made them up in. 1, 2, 3. So I just showed you the Brights bundle there. This is what the block looks like in the Brights colorway. And then I showed you previously the vintage colorway. This is the vintage colorway that I showed you just before the Brights one there. And then we're looking at the blue now, and this is the blue one that we made last week. This is our block 2 for the blue one. So again, you're going to get these wonderful instructions. Works the same way with the color coding of the fabrics there, so that you get the instructions, and then you're getting this wonderful panel of fabric here. And you can just see how perfectly well those will coordinate together. Again, they're all numbered, as you can see in the top left-hand corners, the fabrics 1, 2, 3, and 4, which makes the pattern reading a lot easier when you've understood how that is working. Ooh. And you've got loads of fabric left over on these projects as well. So if you make a mistake, because the very first time I made it, I cut fabric 3 instead of fabric 2. So we've built in the John-proof error protocol in order to make sure you've got a little bit extra fabric in there as well to make sure you're covered. This is the bundle that you're going to get for block 2 for the blue color combination. And then we've got our block 3, so I can show you now our block 3 color combinations. And again, this one now, we're having a few little technical difficulties on our website. So if you need to, just call the call centre, 0800 001 4433. You're going to get this fabulous set of instructions with loads of writing on the back as well and pictures to get that done. And then this is our blue colourway. Sorry, I was about to say Brights then. This is our blue colourway. So this is how much fabric you're going to get with this one. And then this is our block 3 in the blue colourway. And let me show you what that's going to make. Oops. And then this will give us our blue colour combination here for our block 3. That's our blue colour combination. What I love about this is you can see those dark blue squares are just making a lovely little circle around your quilt block there, which is why I was so pleased that we could get that to work that way. So you're going to get this bundle here of fabric and these instructions for $11.99 for block 3 in the blue colourway. And you'll need to ring up for these colour combinations for all of the block 3s at the minute. Our website's having a bit of a moment, so please bear with us while that happens and give us a call on our call centre. Lovely group of people there as well to talk to as well, so you'll have a nice chat with them as well. This is our vintage colourway here. This is the block 3 for the vintage colourway. This is our set of instructions that you're going to get again, and you've got all the writing and the words and everything you need to make the quilt block on the back there. And you've got your wonderful panel that you're going to get for block 3. And you can see it's a really big panel, this. It's 55 inches long. I don't know how wide this is actually. Let me check. Just of the fabric bits, it's just over 18 inches. So that's a really nice big chunk of fabric you're getting there as well. And obviously you've got our tutorial, which is on our YouTube channel then, for all of the time of the channel. If you are calling our call centre to place an order for this, don't forget it is a free call centre. You can then ring in and not have to pay anything on there. Just check with your mobile provider if you're ringing for your mobile, if you get your 0800 numbers for free, but certainly from a landline you'll get that for free. That's the vintage colourway I've just shown you there. That's the block we're going to be making today on our vintage colourway. And then lastly we've got our brights colourway on this. That's what we're going to be making today in the brights colourway. And if you want to see how this pops into your quilt, let me show you. You can just see then how it slots into that section there. Sorry, I've got my arm in the way there. So you can see that just slots in beautifully there. And it's just such a lovely, effective block, which I'm hoping I'm going to be able to show you is a lot easier than you're going to think it is. Again, you're going to get your wonderful set of instructions for the Brights colourway, as well as our fabulous panel. And you can see just how much fabric you're getting on that as well. $11.99 for block 3. Our website's having a bit of a moment, so if you do want to place the order now, do give our call centre a ring at the moment, 0800 001 4433. Everybody's working very hard to try and do the best that we can, skeleton crew and all that. Please bear with us while we're having a few technical difficulties. And thank you so much for your time on that. Right, so I'm now going to start my demo. So forgive me while I pull these all out and double check what I've cut and what I haven't cut. We all do this, don't you worry. So I'm going to be working on, I haven't worked on the vintage colourway yet, so I'm working on our vintage colourway at the moment. Now again, I've mentioned to you before about putting all of these up so that you know what's colour 1, what's colour 2, what's colour 3, making sure you do that. I have created a little note for myself showing which ones I still need to cut, and I'm going to start with my 5.5 inch squares in my fabric here. Now, first thing I'm going to show you is we had a couple of questions regarding how do you cut these blocks out. So my answer to you is you've got enough fabric, you can do it how you like. My way of doing it is I like to do things with less steps. So what I've done here is on my colorway, I have taken to what I'm doing is I'm separating out fabric 1, fabric 2, I think this is fabric 2, fabric 2 is my pink. I've actually cut these all out as strips. So I've got all my colours separate as separate pieces. So that's the first thing I'm doing. Cutting the edges off, hang on to that binding, the selvage, just because it's got my name on it, and I'm very excited about that. So I've cut these out into 4 different sections there, into the 4 different colours. Then what I'm doing is I know I have to cut 4 5.5 inch squares. So I then put my little accountant head on and think, okay, so my strip needs to be 5.5 inches because it's a 5.5 inch square. So I've cut a 5.5 inch strip out, but also I know that it's got to be 22 inches this way, because what I've done, I've got to cut 4 out, so I've just multiplied 5.5 by 4, which gives me 22. So you've got 2 options here. You can either cut these individually, or you can fold it and cut them together. I'm going to cut them individually just because I want to make sure that I'm doing this nice and cautiously, and I'm lining my fabric up on my mat. I love this ruler, so you'll see that I use this a lot. So I'm very pleased to be able to use it for this demo. And I know that my 5.5-inch line is lined up there. So I'm lining up not only the sides here to make sure it's square, but I'm lining the 5.5-inch section up there. And then once that's done, I'm just gently pressing this down and cutting it, okay? So I've got my 5.5-inch square there. Now I'm not moving my fabric at all. All I'm doing is moving this wonderful rotary cutter up each time I do it, and I'm lining that up. There we go, 5.5 inches. So now I've cut 2 of them. And now I'm on my 3rd one. And you can see I'm just letting that go, gently pressing that down, and there we go. There's my 3rd 5.5-inch square. And the great thing with this ruler is I don't even need to lean forward like I normally do. I just do that, and you can see I cut that a little bit taller to make sure I got it right, and there we go. So there are my 4 5.5-inch squares. So that was one of the things that I needed to cut still. But now I also needed to cut 20 2 1/8 squares of one of the colors. So what I did firstly is, this fabric was so wide, I cut you can see I've got my 5.5 there, but I've also got my other square here. So you can see I've got more than enough fabric to have cut the 22-inch strip, cut that off, cut the 5.5-inch square off to cut these off, and then I had enough here to cut out 13 of the squares that I need over here. So now I need to cut 7 more of those squares. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to line my ruler up. I don't need to cut this way because that'll just be far too much fabric. So I'm going to line this up over here and cut there. So that's 2, 4, 6. I'm going to get 3 out of that. So that's 3 there, 3 there, and I need 1 more, so I'll cut that out separately. I'm not going to cut a strip on it. So all I do now is I line this up on top of each other. I wouldn't line more than 2 of these or 3 of these at a go. 2 is probably my limit actually, because I want to make sure they're nice and accurate. And then I'm cutting the rest of my squares. So there's 2. I know I need 7. That's 2. That's 4. That's 6. And you can see you just haven't got enough on that one, so you just need 1 more of those. And what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to, that's 1.5, there we go. There we go. So that's how much white I'm going to have left after this block. That's how much white I'll have left on that. And I call it white, that's what it is in my Callaway. And then I need to cut some more green. So what I've done with the green is I've cut my lengths this way. How many do I need of those? 4. So I don't have enough to cut 2 next to each other, which is a little, so we're going to cut 4 this way. So you can go, so I'm using the rotary cutter and a ruler here. You don't need to, you can use your fabulous Fiskars rotary cutter ruler combination. But I thought I'd just show you this as well, because some people don't have that product. So there's 2. And that's 3. And then 4. And then that's how much green I'm going to have left over. So just to give you an idea of how much fabric you're having left over, and if I'm not mistaken, that's all the one I've got of fabric for, and this is all I've got left of fabric 2. So you can tell there's quite a lot of fabric left over after you've cut these all. And then what I'm doing now is I'm going to line these up in groups of 2. there we go. And then I'm going to smooth off the 2.5 and then cut those down. As many of you know already, our website is having a bit of a moment. They are working on it nice and hard as we speak. If you do want to order block 3 at the moment, please call our call centre. They will easily be able to help you with that. The telephone number is 0800 001 4433. And thank you very much for your patience on that. We've got skeleton staff at the moment. We're doing our best, and sorry we haven't got that ready for you, but the call centre will be able to help you with pleasure. It's just our technicians are working as hard as they can to make sure it's all ready for you. So now all I'm doing is cutting all those away, and we've now, I think, completely cut out. So let me show you what I do as my first thing that I do before I start making the block, is I line this up in how I'm expecting the block to look. Okay, obviously you've got seam allowances to contend with as well. So I know my colorways, so that goes there, that goes there. And then that goes there, and that goes there. And the reason I do this is to make sure, firstly, that I've cut everything out correctly, but also if you've glaringly cut something the wrong size, it'll show up now and you'll be able to then pick up where you've made a small error. So that's there, that's there, that's there. Oh, that's why. Okay, so fabric 2 is pink and fabric 3 is green. So fabric 3 so we're going to do that one there, that one there, that one there, that one there, that one there. Right, so you can see what I'm doing now. It's like a little baby jigsaw puzzle that we're building, and that I know where all the pieces are meant to go. I'm just now making sure I line them all out, that you can see that you've cut everything correctly, you've got enough pieces, and you haven't cut anything that's glaringly wrong in size. Right, last 4 little pieces going in there. And there we go. There is our block pre-laid out, ready to go. So the first thing you're going to do is we're going to sew these three together. I don't know if you can see those. I probably put this in the wrong place. Let me move this over. There we go. So we're going to sew these 3 together and we're going to make 8 of these. So I'm going to attach these. I'm going to put these all on top of each other. So that way it'll be easier for me to sew them all together, because I can then do the same thing all the way along. Now I know I'm going to need my iron in a few minutes, so I'm going to plug my iron in. I've not disappeared, I promise, I'm still here. Oh, come on, there we go. Right, iron is plugged in, iron is turned on, and I have my fabulous June Taylor pressing board here to press. So the first thing I'm going to do is, you've got to pick which way you're going to do it first. It's entirely up to you. I always go from right to left. Doesn't matter, you end up with the same result. So I'm going to put what is called my green onto what is my white. So my green is fabric 3 onto fabric 1, okay? So when you're looking that up on your key, I'm putting fabric 3 right sides together to fabric 1, and I'm making 8 of these. Oh, there we go, sorry. And at this stage, it doesn't really matter which way round you're putting these because you're going to end up with the same result anyway. So while we do this, I saw a couple of people who'd finished their blocks 1 and 2 had mentioned that their blocks weren't the right size. They're meant to finish at 16.5 inches, and the lady who posted her picture said that her block had come out at 15 3/4. Now, do not unpick it, do not cut it, do not trim it, leave it as it is. But what I will ask you to do is make sure whatever seam allowance you've used to make the first 2 blocks, please make sure you do the same seam allowance for the whole quilt. The reason being is you'll find that if your block is smaller than the 16.5 inches, what's happened is you've actually got a slightly larger 1/4 inch seam than what I do, for example. Nothing wrong with that, absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. It just means your block will be slightly smaller, and I've got some few tips for you at the end in week 13 on how we make that work and how we fit it into the quilt. So don't go trimming your blocks up, don't do anything like that yet. We're going to show you how to do that all in week 13, so don't worry, that's a very easy fix. If your block is a little bit bigger, again, don't do anything with it. That's absolutely fine. We're just going to hang about until week 13 to do the adjustments we need to do for your quilt. This is the first time I've used the 570 Alnick machine. It's really quite zippy. Oh, we have an announcement. I am very excited to say that our website has now fixed things. However, you're going to need to search the code. So what we're going to do is Joe's going to pop up on the screen as I'm talking the different colorways of block 3. So if you're getting which color do you want to do first, Joe? Oh, we're going to show you the website. Oh, brilliant. Joe's going to show us the website on how to do it. So you want to pop that up? So we've got the website there. Joe's now doing a search. So if you want to do the vintage, you're going to type into that little search bar there where Joe's mouse is. So this is for your vintage, which is Bravo Yankee Charlie X-Ray 05. There you go, so you can see it there. So BYXC 05, that'll bring up week 3 vintage. That works for that one. If you did the search of block 3, would that work as well? Just on the product code, okay. So the product code is working, just not the actual search function for the block 3 just yet. So that is the code then for the vintage. What was the code for the blue then, Joe? So the blue code is, so Tango Romeo X-ray, Tango Romeo X-ray Charlie 74. I don't know whether people understand the phonetic alphabet, but it does make it easier when you're looking for it, because with my thick South African accent, my T's and D's all sound different. So there we go. Joe's popped the blue bundle up now for week 3. So if you do want it, you can still buy it on the website. You've just got to search for it by the code, which is in the top 6 digits. There's top 6 digits in the corner over there. So I'm not going to press these open all the way through because I think it's just going to take too long. So all I've done now is I've pressed those. Now, before we went on air, I started doing a few of these blocks. Started sewing these. So I'm just going to press those now to get those nice and flat. So I'm working with the vintage colorway today. Right, so I'm popping these back in where I got them from, in theory. Just of the pink ones, because I've worked with the pink ones already. So what we've done is we've now sewn our fabrics. We've sewn 2 of our blocks together over here. Oops. So we've now sewn those together in groups of 2. And what I know now is those need to go on the edge there. So I'm going to sew these. I'm going to take that. I'm going to put right sides together on my creamy grey color, my creamy color there. And I'm going to line those up there. So apparently we've had some links put onto Facebook now as well. If anybody does want to be able to check our Facebook page, there are working links to our website on how to buy the block as well. So you're welcome to go and have a do that. If you don't want to call the call centre, pop onto our Facebook page. Is that the Sewing Street TV page or the fans page? The TV page. So that's Sewing Street TV. If you pop onto that page there, the working links are available through the website. Facebook.com/Sewing Street TV. Oh, apparently it is on the fans page as well. So if anybody has got it on the fans page, you're most welcome. You just click on the link and that will work nicely for both. Brilliant. So now there we go. So I've now sewn those together there, and get rid of the last little bit over there. And I'm just going to press these last few ones together as well. So now all I've done is I've basically made a little 3 patch. So I'm just pressing these. You can press them open, you can press them to the side. Pressing them open does take that little bit longer, and I do prefer it normally, but we're on live telly. I'm going to do what's quickest for you so you're not bored. What's the time, Joe? 22, perfect. Right, we're getting there nice and slowly. So you do need to press these as you go. It just makes your life a little bit easier, especially in the next step. Having everything pressed before you actually start joining these together is going to make your life that little bit easier in order to make sure that it all lines up nicely. So again, as I've now sewn these all together, I'm putting these back in position as to where they should go when I sew these all together in the full block. And the great thing about this June Taylor ironing board is, oh, what have I done with that little white piece? There we go. Just checking. So the great thing with this is then you can see, hang on, that's the wrong way around there. Great thing is when you're doing your work, you just push that on and then you pull it off and you can carry on. So what I've done on most of these, you can see I've sewn these together already. So on the few that I have sewn together, I'm now going to carry on 1, 2, and then 3, 4. I'm now going to carry on sewing these 2 together here. Again, these are just right sides together, and I'm sewing the pink to the cream. But again, check your colorways, make sure you match your fabric numbers up to the way you're meant to be sewing these as well. It's all in the pattern. I just want to press these 2 together as well, because we've done, sorry, I'm a little bit off the overhead there, Joe, sorry about that. We've all seen me pressing before. No one wants to see that, because you'll all go and tell Andrew, I do know how to press. I just want to double check I'm doing this in the right order to the pattern. I think I am. Right. So the first thing we're going to do is, so we've made 8 of these, 8 of those. We're now going to make 4 of these. I just want to make sure I've got these in the correct order. So I'm going to do, I've got the pink in the middle and the 2 creams on the side. I'm going to sew those together and I'm going to make 4 of these. Okay. That was one. That's two. And this is three. And then this is number four. Okay. And then again, what I'm doing at the next step is pressing these as I go. And you're making four of these in total. And you can press these how you like, whether you're pressing them open or to the dark side or to one side. It's entirely up to you how you want to do it. I do think these little blocks of the week is a great time to try something you've not done before. So if you've never pressed your seams open, it's a great time to actually just do a small project, pressing your seams open and see how you like it. It might be something that you actually prefer going forward. And then what I'm doing now is I'm lining these back up into the quilt as to where they should be being sewn. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sew these together. But what is important is to make sure that you're stitching them as accurately as you can. Joe, do you know what happened to the pins? Sorry, the fine ones if I could. Think so? Brilliant. So what you're doing here is you're going to try and line up you're going to try and line these seams up so that they line up perfectly, okay? Now, last time I had my seams pressed open, and I think I had a success rate of 2 out of 4, I can't remember. But either way, you just line these up as best you can to make sure you're doing the best job that you can. And if you don't get it right, please don't be upset. It's about having fun and taking part in this fabulous project with all of us. It's not about exact accuracy. Right. And if it's any consolation to you, I don't think I lined my seams up perfectly at all. And I still love my blocks, so there we go. Can't go wrong with that. So again, you're putting those right sides together and you are then stitching them as you go. Oh, come on. There we go. So, 1 out of 2 ain't bad. So you can see my seams matched up perfectly there, not quite so perfectly over there. So they're perfect there, and you can tell I'm so perfect, you can barely tell. It's one stitch line out, one cotton thread line out. Right, so then you press that down and then you attach the other side. So we've got that there. We're now stitching that to the side over here. Again, if you want to make sure that you're doing this as accurately as you can, you're welcome to use your pins to keep everything nice and secure. Right. Ah, perfect. That's what you're looking for. Right. So there we go. That is one of your squares that are going to be on the side over here. So now you make 4 of those. I'm going to chain piece these through. I'm not going to pin them because I know you're going to do them a lot more accurately. What's the time frame, Joe? Okay. Cool. So I'm not going to pin these because you'll get them as accurately as I can get them. You do what works best for you. I am trying to, there we go. And these are 2/3 of the squares that we're doing. These points aren't bad, actually. Not bad at all. But again, when you're making this block, you won't be doing it live on telly, so you'll be a lot more accurate than what I am. But I won't deny, these aren't actually as bad as I thought they would be. There we go. So now we're going to sew, just like with this one, we're going to sew these. First of all, now we're at that point, you want to make sure that you line these up in the correct order, that we're getting those. You can see here we've got these 2 going that way. This one's already sewn. So I always put everything back into the quilt to be able to make sure that I'm putting these in the right place to then sew them all together. And then I've got those 2 to do there. So again, try and line these up as best that you can. And we're almost there on these 4. And I'm just trimming these apart and then giving these a nice little press. So that one goes there. This one goes there. Oh, that one's perfect. Oh, I'm happy with that. Gosh, that one is exactly right. Of course, yours will be as well. So there we go, we've got that. So now what you can see is I've got my grey squares going in a circle all the way around. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make 4 of these. We're going to make 2 of these where you've got the pink on either side and the white in the middle. Obviously it's not called pink and white in your colorway. You need to just make sure you check back to your fabric key as to what it is that you're doing on that. And then once you've done that, you're going to put these 2 together as well. So you can see this is the only section in the middle that hasn't been done. You're going to make 1 of these. You're going to sew just onto one side to start with. And I'm just going to separate that off. And I know that that has to be in the middle, and then I'm going to put the cream on the middle, on the edge of the middle piece there. Right, and now we're going to press these as well. And again, you press these how you like. There is no right or wrong on this. So what I'm doing now is, this is the block how we're going to make it up. You've got the two pinky ones on the edge and you've got that greeny one in the middle. The only reason I've rotated that is that my seams would nest quietly there. And by that I mean, if I fold these round, you can see on the back, these two seams are going that way and this seam is going that way. So that just means that when I try and line these up, if I line those up there, you can see that they just nest in beautifully together there. So that's another way of doing your pressing, that you can try and get everything to nest quietly and gently in together. And I know that that's the way that bit's meant to be, and that bit's meant to go in here. So I just line these up as well. Right, so we've now finished that block there, that little tiny bit of the block. So now we're just left with a 9 patch. Many of you know what a 9 patch is, but if you don't, you're about to see. So I'm just pressing that there. And you can tell that slotted in perfectly. Can't go wrong with that. So now what I mean by a 9 patch is you've got going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are many ways that you can do this. I prefer to sew these in strips of 3. So I'm going to sew that. Now, when you're doing this, make sure you've got your black dots in the right place. Okay? So I'm going to sew this one on there first. And I'm going to sew this one. I'm going to sew this one onto that one next. And you can see all I'm doing is I'm flopping it on top of it and I'm bringing it back over here. And the good thing about doing it in this method is that if you have made a mistake, as you press everything out and open, you can tell immediately if you've made an error before you've actually sewn the next bit on, because you want to know kind of as early as possible if you've made a mistake so you don't repeat it or make it worse by carrying on. So I'm just pressing these down, give it a nice good solid press, and then on this one as well doing the same thing. And with these, I'm not using it, I don't need to use any pins because there's nothing to line up. I'm just using a really good, consistent 1/4 inch all the way around. So I know that one was there, and I know that one was there. Okay? So I'm now going to put that one on there, and you can tell that my black dots are going in the right circle. So I put that one on there, take it up to my, taking it up here. And then that one on top there, sorry, so that one on top there, and I'm picking this up and sewing on that seam there. This is the great thing about having such a big mat as well, is that you can lay everything out, put your sewing machine right next to it, and you just then can pick everything up as you need to, and you're not going, lining everything up and then walking away and making a mistake or rotating it the wrong way round. It's just a really lovely setup being able to do it this way. So again, I'm now pressing this now. Okay. And then that way there as well. Okay. So you can tell that goes there because you've got your black circles, black squares going that way. and then this one goes there, your black square is going that way. And the reason I say that's important is the number of times I've done it where it's like that, and then after you've sewn it all together, you're like, oh rats, I've made a mistake. So always lay everything out nice and simply, and you always know where you are. So now I'm going to sew that onto this, and then that onto that. So I've got 3 strips then. So your 9 patches at the moment are now a 7 patch. No, 1, 2, it's a 5 patch at the moment. And because there's only 1 piece left, I'm going to do this without pressing that on one side. I'm going to open it up just to check. And then, oh, see, I almost did it the wrong way round, you see. So making sure that's in the middle, I'm then attaching that there. And that's why laying it out is so important, that you can then just make sure you're not sewing anything onto the wrong side. Our website has had a few issues this morning, so if you are struggling to get block 3, there are links on our Facebook page on how to get it. Failing that, you can search for the codes that have been popping up on your screen throughout my demo for the different colorways that you're looking for. Our web's team are working very, very hard to fix the issue, and they will get there as soon as possible. Failing that, otherwise call our UK-based call centre, 0800 001 4433, and they'll be able to help you and place your order with absolute ease. And yeah, you'll be able to talk to our lovely friends down there. So what you've done now, as you can see, you've got your 3 different stripes ready to sew together. Now you're at the point, as long as you make sure you keep your black circle going. I'm going to put that down there. I'm going to hopefully catch my seams comfortably all the way through here, nest everything and get my points to line up. And again, this is where if you want to pin, you must pin. Failing that, I've nested my seams. One seam's going one way, one seam's going the other way. And by that, I mean you can see, this is the point that I'm lining up. So you can tell that my seams, one's going that way, one's going this way. So I'm nesting those up beautifully there. So you can see there's no space in between. I'm holding my fingers down on that and then just feeding it through the machine. And I've kept my hand on that to keep it nice and firm. But as we get closer, I let go, and then I start holding with this thumb over here. That's just holding them there to be nested quietly. And as we get closer, I make sure it's all lined up. And fingers crossed, that worked really well. So that's the fly by the seat of your pants for suggestion of it. And then what I'll do is I'll make this next side, I'll make sure I use some pins so I can show you both ways of doing it. Oh, look at that. Oh, I'm happy with that. Oh, that's lovely. Right, so at this point I actually would press this seam open. Reason being is that you've got some darker colours over here. So just where you're joining the seams together, I would then press this open, because as I'm going, you'll be able to see it's got the pink and the green and the black, just to make sure that those colours don't bleed through into the bottom of your block at the bottom. There we go. So you can see just that one seam I've pressed open as we go. And then I'm going to press these nice and taut over here. Okay, so now that I'm at that point, I put this back here to check, and we've only got one seam to go, so the points that you're matching up are these. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to nest those nice and tightly, so you can see, hopefully on the overhead there, you can see how I've lined those up so that they meet perfectly. Over here you can see, so Joe very kindly is moving in. As you can see, there's a bit of a gap now between them. So what I'm doing is I'm lining those up perfectly just there so that it hasn't got a gap in between it. And then what I'm doing is I'm putting my pin, oh, there we go, putting my pin in there so I can tell whether that's, there we go. So I'm lining that up perfectly so that matches up there. Hopefully it works. With my luck on these, it's sort of 50-50 really. Well, I suppose it's 50-50 always with these. They're either going to meet or they're not. Right. So all I've done now is I've just put my pins in those 2 sections there. And this is now the last seam for block 3. If ever you want to come back and watch this tutorial, every Friday at 9 a.m. will be the time and date for the block of the week. And then Joe or Kat, after the video's gone up onto YouTube, we will split that out and be able to make it a separate show for you that you can watch at any point. You can come back if you decide at week 7 that you want to take part. Weeks 1 to 6 will be available on the YouTube page as well. Just like now, you may be looking at this and thinking, oh, I really want to take part, but I haven't done blocks 1 and 2. What do I do? The YouTube videos are available all the time for you to be able to refer back to. Any questions or queries, drop us a line on the social media, and we'll be able to get back to you as soon as we can. And that was the little 570 keeping us busy there today. Our lovely thin quilting pins there. And then I'm going to keep it this way, and hopefully everything's lined up perfectly. Again, as I said, when I'm joining so many seams at this point, to make sure that the fabrics don't bleed in, I make sure that I press my seams open. And you do what works for you. If you don't want to press your seams open, you don't have to. And I won't deny I'm feeling very positive about my points there, looking at it from above. And then, ladies and gentlemen, our finished block. And you can see those are not bad at all. That's our finished block in the vintage colorway, block 3 for this week's block of the week. We've got 2 other colorways that this is available in. We've got the, do you want to pop it on the overhead? So this is the Brights colorway. You can see is really vibrant in that. We've already made the vintage one. This is the Brights colorway code if you're looking for it online. You'll be typing in QWXC59, Quebec Whiskey X-Ray Charlie 59. Otherwise, we've got our blue colorway as well. And that colorway, look at that. Oh, I love a blue. That is Tango Romeo X-Ray Charlie 74. TRXC74. That'll be the code that you'll be able to do. So what you're getting with all your bundles there is you're going to be able to have enough fabric to make this block. Let me show you the kit before we start out. And I've been manipulating these. How have I done this? So that is block 1. That's not what I'm looking for. There's block 1 over there. So what you're going to get with your order this week is you're going to get a set of instructions. This is for the blue colorway now. So you're going to get your set of instructions and you're going to get this bundle. The bundle of fabric looks like this. It's a 55-inch piece of fabric widthwise, just over 18 inches with all 4 colorways together. So you can see it's a big piece of fabric you're getting there. And then this will be enough fabric to make, this block. And you can see in the quilt behind me over there, that block over here is how that slots in over there. Can't really tell with that at that angle, but I will take this off and show you in a few minutes. So that's the blue colorway. We're in week 3 of this, so weeks 1 and 2 have done really, really well. We've sold hundreds of them, which I'm so pleased about because we've got a lovely little community on Facebook on our fans page showing us each time a block comes up and they've made it. It works so, so well. So now we've got the vintage colorway. Again, you're going to get the instructions with the vintage colorway, and you're also going to get the panel of fabric as well. Panel of fabric will then look like this for the vintage colorway. Oh, this is gorgeous green and pink and grey, and with this lovely cream. This has been the most popular one that we've had. So of all the colorways we've had, I think we sold out of block 1 last week, and then we put some more out, and then I think we sold out of it again. But the great thing is because we make the fabric, we're able to reprint these, and when we do sell out, we will be able to get you stock back again. It just may take us a day or 2 with where we are at the moment, but we will be able to get back to you. So keep checking the website if you haven't got it. These are the instructions and the bundle of fabric you're getting for the vintage colorway. If you're looking for that online at the moment, because our website's having having a moment. It's Bravo Yankee X-Ray Charlie 05. That's BYXC05. Failing which, call our call centre. They'll be able to help you with all of these colourways, and they're able to access everything without needing the website access. So this is now a Brights colourway. The code for that is Q for Quebec, W for Whiskey, X for X-Ray, C for Charlie, 59. That's the code you'll be searching for online. You're going to get this wonderful fabric panel here, these set of instructions here, and this is what the fabric panel looks like. And these fabrics are all three of these colourways are all exclusive to Sewing Street. You won't be able to find these fabrics anywhere else. That's what they look like colour-wise. And they pop so beautifully. This is block 3 of 12 for the block of the week, and then our 13th week will be our borders and sashing, and you're going to be able to catch up with us on this every single Friday at 9 a.m. And then if you do unfortunately miss us at 9 a.m, you'll be able to catch up on our YouTube channel later in the day. If you look up YouTube and look for the channel Sewing Street, you'll be able to see it from there. Shall I show you the quilts again that you're going to make after the 12 weeks? This is the Brights colourway here with the 12 blocks. I'm just going to hold them up over here because also I'm going to help by taking the set down. This is the vintage colourway here. And then we've got our blue colourway. Oh, nope, come on, play nicely. And that's the block we've just made there. And then this is the blue colourway that we're doing as well. If you wanted to see all 12 blocks together, that's what it's going to look like. Really wonderful project, and I'm so pleased to be able to host this for you all. And sorry about a few issues with the website this morning, but we will get there. And I thank you all so much for your support and your time this morning. We'll see you in a few minutes.